Okay, you're all set to start.
Got about a half a minute left. Okay. At this time, I'd like to call the order the meeting for the Community Relations Committee. I'm going to call the roll. Andre Ingalls.
Here.
Bill Soms.
Here.
And I wanted for the record to show that Mary McGrattan is here, as well as Roxanne Marr.
And you.
And Mike Washington, sorry. I haven't had to run one of these in a long time. Okay, the first motion is to set the relations, our regular meeting schedule for 2020. So out of curiosity, what days work best for everybody? Is there a particular day? My schedule's the Tuesdays and Thursdays are wide open, but I know everybody has so many different committees and meetings and stuff. Does anybody have a preference?
I think, Andre, you said you do.
Yeah, my preference would be to keep it on Wednesdays if possible. I will certainly flex if that's not possible. My concern for myself, if I'm being completely selfish here, is that because I'm doing 3 committees, I'm concerned that if it's another night, if I can keep everything Wednesday and I can just always know Wednesday's my town meeting night, that's fine. But if it has to branch out into another night, I would prefer actually overlapping meetings on Wednesdays than having to commit to another night. That said, if it works better for everybody else on another night, I will flex.
Wide open besides the Wednesday is open. Besides the town council meetings for me, I don't have anything else. So we could do right now the town council runs on the 2nd and on the 4th Wednesday of the month, which would open up either the 1st or the 3rd Wednesday of the month.
First Wednesday is admin.
Okay, thank you.
What are we? 5:30 is admin? What did we?
Yes, we can change
admin's
the
at
time.
6.
It doesn't. This is Mary. It doesn't matter to me about the time for admin. It could be earlier or later. It's just, I'm not sure what's good for John Marshall.
I could meet as early as 5.
Okay.
So Andra, I kind of missed that. You're not talking about changing the admin schedule, are you?
No, I'm just
No.
saying, Mike was highlighting that the 2 Wednesdays that are council meetings, and the opposite Wednesdays are the finance meetings. He was suggesting that the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays are open, but I'm letting him know that admin is one of those.
Yeah.
No, admin.
Admin is the second Wednesday.
So, okay. See what's going to happen, you guys?
So
I thought-
Andra, what do you guys meet? Does admin meet on Wednesday, same as council, same night?
Yes.
Okay. So what if we did Wednesdays at 6:30 or 7 on the 1st and 3rd when finance meets?
I don't have a problem with that. The only concern about trying to meet on the same night as a council meeting, if we have a special public hearing or something, usually follows on the same day as the town council.
No, I'm saying we'd meet on the nights that finance meets, the off Wednesdays that council is not meeting. So finance
Yeah.
meets at 5 on the 1st and 3rd
Yep.
Wednesday, and if we met at, finance is usually done by 6:30 at the latest.
Yeah.
That works. So
So
we
we
want to meet on the 1st and the 3rd Wednesday at 6:30.
Yeah.
How's that work for you, Andra?
That works for me.
Okay, so community
do it.
services twice a month as well.
What was that,
What
Roxanne?
happens?
I just wanted to confirm that the Community Relations Committee wants to meet twice a month.
I think we should at the start because we're getting a slow start.
Yes.
Okay.
Worst case, we can cancel it. There isn't going to be, we're waiting for information or something. At least it gives us the option to cancel the meeting.
Yeah.
That's true. And what you could do is maybe have a regular meeting, say, on the 1st Wednesday, and maybe do like a workshop on the 3rd Wednesday.
Would that still be
That's a good
considered?
idea.
Would that still be considered a meeting? In the sense of, so you meet once a month for the committee, and then potentially once a month as a workshop? Or is that an
Right,
option?
like that.
You would still have to post it, so, but if you just scheduled it for the 1st and 3rd, have it be a regular meeting/workshop, so it would cover that.
Okay, perfect. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Yep.
So who moved?
I need a motion.
I'll move that the Community Relations Committee meet on the 1st Wednesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. as a regular meeting, and that they meet on the 3rd Wednesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. to conduct workshops.
I'll second, but then I have a question. Do we need to be that specific, or is it enough to just set our meeting schedule for the 1st and 3rd? And if we have a meeting time slot scheduled, we can essentially call it a workshop. You know, when we're building the agenda, do we just say like, okay, it's workshop night? You know what I mean? Are we
Can
pigeonholing
we do that,
ourselves?
Roxanne?
Right, I think that would be the way to go.
Can
So
we
we
have
don't
a friendly
need,
amendment?
so we don't need to say that it's going to be a workshop now. We can do that as we need to.
Exactly.
That
So,
works.
okay, so essentially we're proposing, we're moving that the Community Relations Committee is going to meet on the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of each month at 6:30 PM.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll accept the friendly.
And second by Andra.
Second, yes.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Counselor Ingalls votes aye.
Bill Psalms,
Yeah, Counselor Song
Counselor
says aye.
Psalms, and Counselor Washington says aye. Motion
You got it,
passes.
Mike.
So that's set as the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of the month at 6:30. The next order of business is to kind of discuss the objectives and goals of the Community Relations Committee. This is kind of a fluid thing to me, only because based on the documents that have come in, I sent you the 2 letters that came in most recently. The third one there's a third one that came in before the Community Relations Committee was seated, and that was coming from Rebecca Grabner with her comments. So that being said, relative to the goals, I think the idea is if we're trying to do a community relations, I think we need to first address what the community people are complaining about right now on some level, I think, which is trying to either address the issue that people have with how they feel relative to services being provided by the town. Then there's the issue of how they perceive themselves being treated by police. And then there's another issue. Now these are broad, I'm saying something that's really in broad terms. And then there's another component related to the school that people have brought up. I think the school issue is going to be addressed by the Board of Ed. And I don't know if that's something we would do at this point. So I'm not, because it's kind of a fluid, to me, it's kind of a fluid animal. And I think those would be the primary issues. One is going to be how people are perceived, are being treated by the town government itself, okay? And then because we can't control how people feel outside town government, how they get treated outside town government. We can influence that by what town government tries to do, but I don't see how we're going to be able to move that marker in space per se on trying to change people's perceptions. I think part of that, in order to change people's perception though, requires the workshops, getting groups of people to talk about what they see as issues, figure out where that common ground is, and then try and see if we can bring that common ground together and get people to work as a group. And I think from that, as they get more confident with the fact that the government's being responsive, the people in town in general are being responsive, I think that'll grow the community relations portions of it. I think people have to feel they have a buy-in. And right now, the first thing they're concerned about is the police. I think that's an easier thing once people understand what the police department's doing. And then from that, looking at government and sense of how does the government treat people as far as what's their policies within the town. So if someone comes to the town, and it could be either treatment in the town. I look at the issue that we're trying to resolve with the food bank portion, and people thinking they're not part of the town. So I'm trying to wrap my head around that portion of how to grab those different components. And so part of the things I was thinking about was meeting with the police chief, with people through a workshop, so they can understand what the police department is doing, get a better understanding of the police department, doing something with the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation as far as a workshop with people community talking about what they see are issues, And from that, it'll really drive the agenda. Because right now, people are complaining about the police, and people are complaining about the fact they don't believe they're being treated fairly by town government, and they don't think they're being treated fairly by the town in general. They're kind of being they're already being prejudged in who they are versus what they actually do. So I think just like eating an apple, an elephant, you got to take one bite at a time. So I won't keep chatting along here. What do you guys think as far as trying to move this marker? I know it's a lot.
Okay, so can I just interject for a minute? So tonight's meeting is really just briefly identify things. So for your goals, objectives and goals would be like number 1, to identify community. Number 2, schedule community work sessions. Number 3, improve communication amongst groups, and not the details of that stuff. Work through your process that would sort of identify, we need to improve, or we need to talk with the police, we need to do this and that. So you just kind of want to have a couple of bullets on what your objectives are going to be and your goals. You don't have to specifically identify them right now.
Well, I think
I don't know if that helps.
I didn't catch all of that, Roxanne. I didn't catch all of it. But just jumping back to the part I did catch, I think it really talks about the process on how people can come then, therefore, to the town, make a complaint, but lodge their concerns and what their expectation is, and then taking those expectations and seeing if we can. I don't want to use the idea if we can review those issues they have, see if we can resolve those issues, and what we can do within the town government to make that happen. So it's really going to be a process. People will come to us with the concerns, and we see how the town government actually impacts those concerns, if it's a negative or positive. And then if it's a negative, see if there's something we can do to adjust that negative. So it's really, I'm going to back up again, people coming into us with their concerns. And I think we have some that came in by 2 young ladies. They gave a litany of concerns they had. But I think people have to come to us first. And then from that, we develop how we're going to address that. And the process is we have to investigate what it is, see how town government impacts it, or how we can move town government to resolve it. If we can, we're not going to be able to do everything for everybody. And then just see if we can get the people to understand what we're trying to do and get buy-in from the community.
So,
go ahead,
Mr.
Andre,
Chair,
Bill, councilors.
Andre, you want to go?
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, so I think we have, as a committee, I think we have an obligation to educate ourselves, and I think we have an obligation to educate others. We need to educate ourselves on what it's like to live in this town, receive services as a person of color, as opposed to a person being white. I believe personally there is a difference. Maybe not for everyone, but I think we have to educate ourselves on that question. Then I think we have to, and let me say more about that, we need to be educated by people who have those experiences. We had a start when we went to the protests, and personally I would like to invite some of the people who spoke at the first protest, maybe the second one too. But bottom line, my point is our goal should be to educate ourselves. Secondly, I think our goal should be to educate others, because many accusations are being made, or accusations or implied accusations about what the town is not doing. I think we have an obligation to educate the town about what the town does do, as you said, Mike. How the police department operates, how the food pantry operates, how social services operates. So I think we have an obligation to educate there too. So that's 2 goals. I think it would be a good idea for a committee like this, who has a an important mission that is not particularly clear to write a mission statement. Because I think we can be all over the map swatting at flies if we don't have a mission. And I'm not big on mission statements, but this is one where I think we need one.
I would agree, only just because this is a very big and broad topic, and to try and attack all the different tentacles is going to be nearly impossible without being really clear in where we're going and what we're going to try and accomplish along the ride. So putting together the mission statement, I think that's going to become, I think that in itself is going to be a long discussion.
Yeah. And I don't want to have a long discussion.
Right. Exactly. So I can draft what I would propose as a mission statement. The only thing is, it would be, I'm going to use the word biased from my perspective, because some of the things that we're going to talk about, I mean, we're not going to see eye to eye, which is fine. You know, not in the sense of, I don't mean it in the sense of not seeing eye to eye. It's just that I'm not going to, there's things you're going to think of that it's not even going to dawn on me because it's just so ingrained into my head on certain issues. So I don't think of those things. And some of this, like on the education part, I get it. I think that's very important because we've seen all the misinformation. So if we want, as a committee, I can try and draft it, or we can put together a workshop and talk it out on what we want to do for the mission statement. Because it's either going to be, we're going to educate people. It's going to be a simple one, as we're going to educate people on what the services are the town provides, how the town provides the service, okay? And then on top of that, if telling them there's got to be some mechanism for them to lodge a concern. So I'm not sure exactly how that mission statement would read out. Trying to wrap my head around that part, Bill. I get it, and I agree with you. But I'm trying to figure out how narrow do we want to be on a mission statement.
Question for Roxanne: would it be legal for us to email each other, meaning the committee, and copy to you, Roxanne, with our proposed mission statements? If each of us put together a list of bullets, is that an illegal meeting?
Well, I think if you send it to the full council and don't ask for a response back, then you don't have. So
you're breaking up really, really hard. I'm having trouble hearing that. Okay,
so is this better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If you want to put something together and email it to the full council and not ask for any feedback or response, then that would work. But if you start to have a give and take where you're commenting on each other's stuff, then that could be construed as an illegal meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Would that being the case, would it be worthwhile to put together each individual's idea of a mission statement, meet in 2 weeks, and hash it out? That way we can talk about, we can walk through different points.
Yeah, well, tonight, what you really want to do is just kind of have these bullet points. So, for instance, you want to discuss establishing a mission statement. Now, that's something that you should discuss at your next meeting. So tonight, you don't really want to talk about how you're going to do it. You just want to sort of say, these are our objectives. We want to establish a mission statement. And then, you could talk about it at your next meeting. You shouldn't really be getting into the discussion of it this evening.
No,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
This is strictly an organizational meeting.
so that being the case, would everybody be agreeable to, at the next meeting, bring forward their mission statement, just the bullets for that document? So we're probably gonna line up pretty good on a lot of stuff. And I know because 3 different people will all come up with some other things that may be of importance to add in. So that would be the goal for the next at the next meeting, is to have a mission statement.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, you know, I would say the mission is slightly different than the goals. You know, the goals are your specific tasks that we want to accomplish. So if over the next 12 months, we could find even 4 robust topics that we want to bring to the community, I think we would have really accomplished something meaningful. You know, we're not going to tackle a big topic a month. It's just not reasonable. But if we, you know, clearly, I think, Mike, I agree with you. I think the police discussion is probably one that's at the top of the list, if not the top of the list. And I think it would be so helpful for people to hear. So, but I like the idea of us each drafting a mission statement based on what we've just discussed briefly tonight. We can get it down next time we meet, and also a few concrete goals for the year.
Perfect.
And I also like your idea, Mike, of a mechanism for a complaint, you know, a complaint portal. I was thinking about that myself, because absent a place to officially complain, people just go on social media where nothing gets resolved and everything gets escalated.
I agree completely. So that being said, Roxanne, is there anything left to do?
Yes. Well, I think you kind of combined your, you know, number 2 and 3 together, you know, counselor comments. So I think you're good.
Oh, sorry about the guys. Sorry about that, counselors. It's gonna be a little rocky.
That's okay.
Sure.
So
It's all right, Mike.
I'll get in the groove.
Okay, and just so you know, what I'll do tomorrow is I will put a memo together and submit your schedule to the town clerk. But your first 2 meetings will probably be considered special because your schedule needs to be on file for a month, 30 days prior to your first meeting. So that means the next 2 will be considered special, just so you know.
No, I think that's fine. I think it's
Okay.
I think it's what we need to do.
Right.
So the next meeting is next Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, that would be, which is a busy night because
Yeah.
we've
That
got
was quick.
finance and then we've got special counsel. But you could do it, you know, it's going to be a special meeting, so, you know, maybe it's Tuesday night next week better? Or is that too many nights?
I don't mind. I don't mind Wednesday. I mean, Tuesday makes it come even faster. So.
If it works out for Andre, Counselor Ingalls, I'd rather just stay with the Wednesday if that works. I don't either, because the first Tuesday of next month and the first Monday, I'm stacked up with 2 meetings on Monday. I mean on Tuesday.
Okay. Well, okay, so next Wednesday, which is August the 5th, there's going to be finance at 5, council at 6. I don't expect it to take too long, so probably we could get you in at 6:30.
The council meeting is the first Wednesday of the month?
No, there's going to be a special meeting next week.
Oh, okay. Sorry, everybody.
We're
That's
all
okay.
along for the same ride. It's okay.
So
We just
so
found-
then
we
then
just
we
found
have
out about it.
vacations.
Mhm.
We have vacations to deal with. I'm going to be gone for the 19th Andra, then you're gone the week of
Labor
the
Day
20.
week.
Oh, Labor
I'm
Day.
gone.
Okay.
Labor Day week. Yep.
Okay.
I'll be
that
here.
would actually be the second Wednesday. Labor Day's kind of late on the calendar.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get a few meetings under our belt.
Okay,
Um,
so then, we'll go ahead and schedule the next meeting for 6:30 next Wednesday, following the special council meeting.
I'm good with that.
Me too.
Me too.
Do we need a motion on that?
No, we're
Okay, I
good.
didn't think- Okay.
You just have to adjourn if you're done.
Do the councilors have any further questions? Input?
No.
And did I make a motion, we adjourn the meet? You make a motion to adjourn?
Second. Good job, Mike.
Thank you, everybody.
Way to go, Mike.
I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to doing it in person. Everybody have a great night.
Yeah.
Me too.
You too.
You too. Good night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Good night.
Good.